Hello, everybody. Let's talk about Cisco DNA Center platform. I'm sure you have heard about Cisco DNA Center. Today, we'll be talking about Cisco DNA Center platform and how you can externalize all of the data that we have on the Cisco DNA Center. Just a bit about myself. I am Saurav Prasad, and I'm working with the Cisco DNA Center technical marketing team. I have with I have been with the Cisco DNA Center team for the last 4+ years, and with Cisco for almost 20 years, and I've been focusing on programmability and integrations during my time with the DNA Center team. So what is the Cisco DNA Center? So Cisco DNA Center is the network management system. It is the foundational controller and the analytics platform for Cisco's intent-based network. It is an SDN controller for all of your automation workflows, be it for the virtual devices or for your other services. It is an assurance engine to guarantee the best network experience for all of your users. We have a lot of data here as part of DNA Center because we are able to ingest data from different network devices, from different ecosystem tools, and then we are able to give you insights. So we'll be talking about how we are able to externalize some of this data here as part of the session. So as part of DNA Center, we also have the DNA Center platform. This is where we expose all of our APIs, and these are APIs for different automation workflows, assurance workflows, for the policy workflows. We have the data as a service tools and the push notifications, and these are push notifications using webhooks. We'll be talking about all three of them as part of the session. On top of these tools, we also have ecosystem integrations. We have integrations with IT service management, with IP address management tools, with the logging tools, with wireless planning systems and incident management systems. And how you can use all of this, we have developer resources, and we'll be talking about that towards the end of the session. Most of our developer resources are exposed via Cisco DevNet. So what does Cisco DNA Assurance and Analytics do? So as part of the analytics engine on DNA Center, we are able to ingest data coming from various mechanisms. And this could be SNMP traps, streaming telemetry mechanism that we have on our switches and routers. This could be coming from syslogs, from NetFlow, from other ancillary systems. So Cisco DNA Center takes all of that data, analyzes it, and gives you the insights. And this is using some of the knowledge that we have already gained. And this is knowledge for the last 25+ years that we have been working with network management systems and with network devices. So we take all of that data, give you correlated insights, and that gives you visibility into what exactly is happening with your network devices, insights into what are the kind of issues that you're seeing, what is the impact of these issues, and last but not the least, we also give you action steps on into how you can fix these issues, how you can troubleshoot this issue further. So these are all part of DNA assurance and analytics. And as part of this session, we'll talk about how we can expose a lot of this data to you via programmatic tools. So in terms of data externalization, we have three primary methods via which we externalize this data. The first one is APIs. So we have APIs where we can get health of devices, insights, what are the issues that is happening, the full detail about the network, about your topology. That's all part of APIs. Then we have the event notifications. So these are the push notifications that we have. And these are notifications using various mechanisms. This could be using email. This could be using webhooks. This could be using direct integration that we have with ServiceNow. And we'll talk about each one of them. And last but not the least, also bulk data export. So this is where we are able to export data in bulk. And this could be data about all of your network devices, all of your clients, what are the busiest clients, and so on and so forth. So these are the three primary methods via which we are able to externalize data from the DNA Center. So let's talk about the intent-based REST APIs. All of the APIs that we have on DNA Center is exposed via the developer toolkit on DNA Center. So if you go to the DNA Center user interface, you will see the platform tab, and within the platform tab, you have developer toolkit. And there, this is where you will see the API catalog and the events catalog, and a lot of other tools that we have. So the first place to see all of those APIs is the API docs on the DNA Center itself. We also have these APIs exposed on DevNet. So if you go to the API reference page for DNA Center, you will see that. And we will be providing you a link towards the end of this presentation. So 2 places to see all of these APIs. And both of the places you are able to try out these APIs yourself, right? So if you're on the DNS Center, you can try out the APIs, or if you are on the DNS Center platform portal on DevNet, you can connect this to your own DNS Center system and try out these APIs. On the DNS Center uh, portal, you're also able to get sample code for some of these APIs. So again, a lot of different ways you can access these APIs and get started with these APIs. All of the APIs on DNS Center are authenticated. So any API call that you make will need to be authenticated. So the very first API call that you make is to get your session token. And for that, we are using basic authentication. So you will need to provide your username and password, and giving that you get your token, and then every subsequent DNS Center API call, you will need to use this token, and this will be added as part of the XAuth token header. For assurance and analytics, there is a number of APIs, and you can, as you can see here, we have APIs for getting the site health, device health, client health, application health, and issues. And there are more APIs that will be coming in the subsequent releases, but this should at a high level give you full insight into what exactly is happening with your network. So you will get the health of your devices, the health of your clients, the health of your sites, what are the different applications that are running on your network, what is the health of these applications, what are the issues that are happening in the network. You will get all of those details using these APIs. On top of this, we also have the network inventory and the topology API. So this will give you the full inventory level detail of what are the devices that you have in your network. But this is for your wireless access points, your switches, your routers, your controllers, and we get full details about these devices. So what's the serial number of this device? What is the platform ID? What is the memory usage? What are the modules on these devices? What is the configuration on these devices? What are the various interfaces on these devices? You get all of that via these APIs. And using the topology information, and again, on Data Center, we are able to get the topology information via CDP or LLDP. You can get the full detail about your network topology. And this could be your layer 2 topology, your layer 3 topology. It could be a site-based topology. You get all of those topology level details via these APIs. Let's take a look at some of these examples. So if you go to the DNS Center user interface, and if you go to the DNA Assurance page, you will see the landing page. This is how it looks like. You will see the overall health of your network devices. You will see the overall health of your clients, and this is going to be broken down into wired and wireless clients. For the network devices, it could be broken down into your routers, your switches, your access points, your controllers, your distribution switches, your core switches, all of those details, right? And we give you the health of each of these devices. The same information is going to be obtained via the site health API. So if you go to the get site health API, we get you all of this information. And this is a sample response schema for this particular API call. And here is a sample response for this API where you can see for site presenter, I'm able to give you all the details, how many devices you have, how many clients you have, how many of those devices are healthy, how many of those devices are not healthy. Similarly, for the clients, we give you the same amount of detail. And this information will be provided for all of the sites, or if you want it for a very specific site, you can filter that as well. So this is a very good example of how you can get the full site level health information for all of your entire network. Then we have the client health, right? Again, this is just, I'm showing you some examples. On the user interface, you will see the client health tab, which gives you the health of all of your clients. And this is not of a specific client, but for all of the clients that you have in the network. And this is again broken down into wired and wireless clients. For this, we have the client health API, which will give you all of these details. And this gives you the score details for wired, wireless, what are the kind of issues that you're having in your network. All of these details will be shown here as part of this API call. And here is a sample response for this API call, where you can see here, it tells you the client type. So this could be wired, this could be wireless, and we give you the number of wired clients, number of healthy wired clients, number of healthy wireless clients, what are the clients which are not healthy, why are they not healthy. These are all provided as part, or all of these details are provided as part of this API response. So we talked about some of these APIs, and I would highly encourage you to go to the Cisco DNA Center platform portal on DevNet and look at these APIs. These APIs are already out. And again, as I said, we will be adding more and more APIs to this particular API set in the subsequent releases. The next method via which we can externalize data is via push notifications. And these are, and for the sake of this discussion, we'll be talking about webhooks because we have notifications for email, for syslog, via SNMP, all of that is there. But if you're trying to access a lot of this data programmatically, I think webhooks is the best way to get it. So let's talk a bit about the webhooks framework or the event notification framework that we have on the DNS Center. So you have the event sources, right? And this is going to come from the network infrastructure. This is your switching, routing, wireless network infrastructure. You have various sources. This could be automation, assurance, or issues happening with your DNS center itself, right? So if something is wrong with the DNS center, you want to be notified about it. And all of these events are going to be part of the event management system. So that's where we have the event catalog, and that's where you can go and subscribe to these events. We have various channels via which you can get these events. As I said, webhooks, emails. We have a direct integration with ServiceNow where you can actually create your own tickets on ServiceNow, and this is this step is completely automated, and this is a two-way integration that we have with ServiceNow. So between DNS Center and ServiceNow, you can actually open tickets, you can get information back from ServiceNow about the incident ID and all of those details. We are also working on, and then this should be available in the next release, an integration with PagerDuty. So this is actually out of the box. You can do that today using these webhooks, but we will also be giving you a direct integration with PagerDuty. And again, using all of this, there's a whole bunch of use cases, and this could be use cases for mobile app, for your NOC tools, for your IT service management. Again, as I said, we have integration with ServiceNow, but if you want to build your own ITSM integration with other vendors, you can do that as well. You can build an integration with your logging systems. You can build managed services offering using all of this. So there's a lot of use cases. Again, we are not talking about all of them here, but just giving you an example of this. And all of these systems, these are all part of the DNS Center, right? So when you install a DNS Center and when you have DNS Center up and running, you get all of this by default. For the sake of this discussion, we are going to focus on webhooks. As I said earlier, we have an events catalog. So this is again part of the developer toolkit on DNS Center. We have an API catalog, and then we have an events catalog, and this is going to give you the list of all of the events to which you can subscribe. And right now we have we have more than 100 events that you can subscribe to, and we keep adding more and more events to this catalog with every release. For each of these events, you have the full detail, what kind of event this is, what is the schema for this event, and what are the active subscriptions. And if you want to subscribe to it, we also have a try it method. So if you want to try out this event subscription, you can do that as well. You will need to define your destination, right? So you can go to the destinations tab and you can define a destination. In the case of webhooks, you can give the URL. You will have to provide if there's any authentication here. It could be basic authentication, token-based authentication. You can add any headers here. And then once you have done that, you are now all set. And anytime this event happens, you will be sent a notification. This schema for these webhook notifications is actually standard, right? So this is the same schema that you will get for all the notifications that is coming from the events catalog, right? So there are two parts to it. The first part is the REST schema, and this is not going to change. This is going to be same for every single event that we send out. Now, for some of the events, there will be some specific details that they want to add. So this is where we are going to add these details as part of the details object, right? So if you see here, there's a details object, and for each of these, or for this detail, we will give you details about what issue it is or what device or client this is impacting. So all of that is there as part of this schema. Here is a sample payload, and you can see here, this is for a device which is not reachable. So we give you all the details about the device, and you can enrich all of this. We have enrichment APIs, which gives you all the details about this particular issue, if it's an issue. We will give you the steps on how you can remediate or troubleshoot this. What is the impact? How many times this issue has happened? All of that can be found using the enrichment APIs that we have on the DNS Center platform. Here is the event notifications workflow. And again, we have talked about most of this already, but you will need to configure, subscribe, and when the event happens, you will be notified. You can enrich that event, get more data using the enrichment APIs, and then you are able to update that issue or event as well. So these are at a high level, this is the workflow that we have for event notifications on the Cisco DNA Center platform. Just a quick note, the update step is not possible via APIs today. This is a future enhancement that we're looking and should be available shortly in one of the DNA Center releases. The third method is the bulk data export, right? So this is where we are able to export large amounts of data to your systems, right? And this could be for many different use cases, but we give you the tools on how you can extract this. So at a high level, what we have is a whole bunch of DNA assurance data stores, and this could be data stores for clients, for devices, for applications, for issues, trending data. All of that data stores are there on the DNA Center, and this is as part of the analytics platform. And you're able to get some of this data. So you are able to schedule it, filter it, collect the data, and when so DNA Center is going to collect that data, and then once the collection is complete, or for some reason something goes wrong, we will notify you, and that will have a link on how you can, or link of the data file, and you will then be able to download that data file and execute a use case. We also have a purge mechanism because you don't want to keep this data forever on the DNA Center. It does take up a lot of space. So you will be able to purge some of this data as well. So let's look at a quick workflow on how you can do that. So first of all, the bulk data extract mechanism is part of the reporting mechanism on DNA Center. So as you can see here, you have a whole bunch of reports that we have on DNA Center. And these are reports for your network inventory, for your image compliance, for access points, for clients, for devices, for threats that is happening in the network. And as you can see, some of these reports are, or actually most of them are available as in a CSV format or in a JSON format. And this is where you can extract this data, and then you can customize this data and execute your own use cases. So how do we do that? The very first step is you have to define your scope, right? So select a report, define the scope, right? This could be per site or for a particular radio type. Many different scopes. Depending on the report, you will have to define your scope. Then you have to choose your file type. So you want this to be in a CSV format or in a JSON format or in a PDE format or as a PDF. Depending on the use case, you can do that. Then you can schedule it. So this could be for once a day or just for one time, or this could be for last 3 hours or last 24 hours or for a custom time period that you have. You can do all of that. And last but not the least, you define where you want this notification to be sent out. It could be sent out as an email or as a webhook, and then you will have to define a destination. So if you remember in the previous section, we talked about destination. This is where you'll be using that. And once it's all done, whenever the report is generated, you will be notified. And this is how this notification payload looks like. And this will have a link from where which you can go and download the report. And you can do it programmatically, you can do it manually. Either way works fine. And this is where this is a quick high-level overview of how you can extract bulk data from the DNA Center. Again, the use case here is not something where you want to get this data every few minutes. This is for if you want to get this data once a day or once every 12 hours, because this is bulk data. This could be your 100,000 clients list, something of that sort, right? So you have learned about 3 different mechanisms. This is APIs, notifications via webhooks, and bulk data extract. Using these 3, you should be able to get a lot of data from the DNA Center. Most of the data about network device health, client health, application health, issues, trends, all of that is available via these sources. So now, how do you get started, right? So as I said, we have a Cisco DNA Center platform portal on DevNet. So if you go to developer.cisco.com/DNA Center, you should be able to access all the resources that we have. This is where you have the links to your DNA Center sandboxes, the learning labs, the code exchange. We have the API reference guide. We have the developer use case guides. All of this is there as part of this portal. I would highly recommend that you go here and get started with your DNA Center journey. As I said, we have the developer guides. This has been very recently introduced. So we have developer guides for a whole bunch of use cases on how you can do software image management, how you can do the health monitoring, how you can do software-defined access. All of this, there are guides, and these are detailed guides on how you can use these APIs, because some of them might involve the use of multiple APIs. So you get all of the details here, along with the link to the sample code for each one of these use cases. So go to the developer guides on the DNA Center platform portal, and this will be really useful for you. Last but not the least, we have a Python SDK. We actually released a new version of the Python SDK, I think maybe last month, and this covers, and this has the support for data center 2.x release as well. And then we have a GitHub repository where we have sample code, and this is coming, and these are sample codes for your webhook receivers, for path trace, for network inventory, for creating sites. All of that, is there as part of this GitHub report. So you have both the links here to access the Python SDK and the sample code. Also on Code Exchange, on the DevNet Code Exchange, we have a portal for DNS Center where there's a whole bunch of other sample codes. This is coming from Cisco and from a lot of our partners outside of Cisco. That's it for now. Hopefully you found this useful, and thanks a lot.